Every people, every community must have its vision. You must know where it's trying to go. And that vision should be strong enough that it lasts over time. I just, you know, if my vision is just to come to Jumuah and I made the Jumuah, that's it. But my vision is to see this religion and this way of life established. That's going to take more than my lifetime. More than our collective lifetime. We have to see that Islam requires of us to have a vision that will encompass all the time that we are on this earth. And also the time for our children and their children and their children. So that vision must be an all-encompassing vision. And you hope that the children will come and have the same vision. Maybe not all the children, but at least some of them have the same vision. They understand that Islam requires work, sacrifice, and it requires that you make a commitment to put your whole life into it. So, for example, if we say that when comes the help of Allah and opening, all right, it says you will see people entering Allah's religion in great crowds. So we have not yet experienced that. Here in America, you haven't seen the vast majority of the Afwaja. Afwaja means great numbers, the multitude. We have not seen the multitude come to Islam. We've seen a trickle here and there. We see maybe somebody takes Shahada, somebody else takes Shahada, but that's not what the Quran is discussing. The Quran is talking about the day of time when the influence of Islam will be so great that people will feel the urgency of wanting to be right with their Lord. Right? They'll feel the sense of urgency to know that, look, I got to get right with my Lord. So this Ara'ayt al-Nas means you have a vision. I think this word Ara'ayt is from the verb Ra. Ra means you got to have a vision. You have to see, so for example, when I'm talking to you, I don't see you. I see the multitude hearing what we're saying. All right? Because we live at a time when this religion has finally reached a time where the human family has become a global society. So you can, as we evolve to get our technology right, you can speak to the whole world from this platform. All right? For example, I do a class where I talk to children about the internet, and I teach them artificial AI, artificial intelligence. But some of my students in Malaysia, some in China, some in India, some in Africa, all right. And then and on my laptop I have a little camera where we do what we call this thing called GoToMeeting. I don't know how many of you heard of this. It's called GoToMeeting. You can be talking. They see you, you see them. All right? All right, because a little camera that can give you a picture, and we have these what we call smart boards, where you can take the image and put it on like a big screen. So my point is, technology has grown to the point where you don't have to just think in terms of who you physically see that you talk to. You can now talk to individuals, a whole group of people, and those people can be in any part of the world. So you have to have a vision. You have to have a vision. And you have to think when you're in this type of environment, you have to think about who's hearing what I'm saying. All right? Who is seeing what I'm giving? Who else is also being moved by this message? All right? And so what I'm saying is, if we only think about what we see in our immediate environment, we're going to miss the big picture. We're going to miss the big picture because we think about, okay, well, here in Masjidullah, Philadelphia, Oak Lane, West Oak Lane, Philadelphia, you start adding up the number of people. Let's say across the city, there may be, say, 10,000 people attending the Jumuah. But Islam is a community that's over 1 billion strong. So if in one city here in America, you got the easy man, you got 10,000. Then how do we get to the 1 billion, 1.7 billion? All right? You gotta think about that. So you think about that there are people all over this earth attending Jumuah in great numbers. Now here in America, we have yet to achieve that, but a part of our vision must be that one day we will have Jumu'ah on the same scale as what they have in Saudi Arabia, what they have in Turkey, what they have in Egypt. Jumu'ah on the same scale. Why? Because this message is not a message that's limited to any one part of the globe. You will see when the opportunity or when the opening comes, you will see people entering Allah's religion in great numbers. And those great numbers, let's think about this. Let's think about this for a minute. If this religion, this way of life, I mean, let's use the word deen so we everybody know what we're talking. This deen is considered to be deen al-fitra, the natural way of human beings. Is everyone walking out there have the potential to be Muslim in this deen? Yes. Is anybody saying that Islam is only something that could be in the Far East or in the Middle East or in Africa and Asia? No. So the effect or the opening or the opportunity that Islam have here in America is unlike anywhere else in the world. Because it's just like if you're in business, right? If you go to an environment where there's a whole lot of stores selling the same item, would you set up your business there? No, you go to the area where your product doesn't have, there's not as many stores. Well, think about this. If you try to do this work of Islam, this work of Dawah, in, say, Saudi Arabia or Egypt, Pakistan, where Muslims already established, you would expect to get very low results. Because most people are already Muslim and been Muslim for what? Hundreds, if not thousands years or more. But when you come to America, where there's very low Islamic establishment, now you get opportunity. Either as Jah, Nasrullah, or fact. Now you see the help of God coming to give you an opening. Now you come look around and see all these people don't believe in Allah. There's no Islamic establishment anywhere. Oh man, this is a great opportunity. Because as a person of vision, you got to see that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road, you got to see Al-Islam established, and then you will begin to see the schools, the businesses, the neighborhoods, but you got to have the vision to see this. And when you're working for that. So every time someone comes before you, they're not just talking to you now, they're talking to this vision. And the vision says what? That in time, Al-Islam will become, as God promises in the Quran, it will become the most prevalent, the most pervasive way of life. And when you understand that, then you work with a different spirit. When you work only based on what you see here, you won't have no spirit. You get into a lot of petty arguments, all that kind of stuff. You be small. You be arguing over who this, who that. That's small. As I told the believers in Detroit, when I was in Detroit, I said the people with vision don't look at numbers that are before them. They have in their mind a conceptual frame of reference where they're looking big. And I gave them an example. Now, in certain areas of Detroit, it's like wiped out. But the owner of the Tigers is spending $1 billion fixing up downtown Detroit. The owner of the airport has spent $2 billion fixing one of those modern airports in the world. Now, when you go in the neighborhoods, Detroit looks lighted. But if you go in the core of the city, Detroit is up and coming like you wouldn't imagine. So I suggested to the Muslims that were there, I said, you got to find a seat at the table. Don't be deceived by what you see in the neighborhood. Because the scheme has always been what? Let the neighborhood go down to a certain point where the inner city or the core becomes so rotten, so to speak, becomes so abandoned that people will abandon the city. And then at that point, you can level all the abandoned houses and put up new construction. Because that's what they're doing. I said, doing it in Detroit, doing it in Philadelphia, doing it all over the country. I said, if the Muslims are not at that table, we arguing over who is who got henna in their bed, or who got on the right clothes and all that. That ain't, you would never establish Islam here in America, because you don't have a vision of what Islam looked like in America when the numbers become so increased that we can think about what who's looking out for Islamic schools, who got a plan for Islamic hospitals, who got a plan for Islamic economic development there, rows and rows of businesses where Muslims go for halal. Right, you almost somebody that's no baby stuff, wasn't that? Look, you want to see Islam, I told him, I'm saying to you, you want to see Islam was successful in 21st century America. I know what Islam looked like 1,000 years ago when it was successful with Prophet Muhammad. But I've yet to see it in 21st century America looking like successful Muslim businessmen walking, sitting at the table of billionaires and discussing the future of a city. I'm not arguing with somebody over a table on a corner arguing like I can sell incense, hot DVD, CDs. That don't mean nothing to me. I want to know who is the manufacturer, because I want to have a factory making CDs and DVDs. That's how you got to be thinking. You think it's small, you got Islam, and you got no more vision than to be arguing over whether or not you wear kufi or whatever. Come on, brother. I want to own the store. I want to own the factory. I want to own the ship that brings this thing. That's how you should be thinking. Islam comes to give you a vision of reality that's bigger than what you have. If all you got is this small, little, petty, you will die, your children will die, and Islam will never mean anything. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا. You want to see the day when Islam is the prevailing way of life. Not say everybody gonna be Muslim, no. But you don't have any problem being off on Sunday, being off on Saturday, which the Jews and Christians control the environment, so you live according to their beat. You off on their holidays. All right? You go according to what they say is the time to take a rest. When you got Islam, brothers and Muslims, with the right vision, you are thinking about where Islam going to be at 30 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years, 100 years from now. That's how you should be thinking. And you ask yourself, what must I do in my time to ensure that those coming behind me don't have to do what I was supposed to do? They're spending their time cleaning up my mess. So what must we be doing, brothers? What must we who have been in Islam now, some of you 30, 40, and 50 years or more, what must we do? Some basic things. We must sit in place the basic economic foundation. Ask yourself, how much of your resources you don't donate to help see Islam established? You want to know how long it's going to take? Ask yourself how much time you give to it. How much time you give to the learning of religion? Too many of us have come to Islam and have died in the fundamentals, have died in the basics. We should be well grounded in the philosophical language of the Qur'an and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, so we're not constantly moved by people come with every new trend. Look at what has happened to us. There was a time when we had Islam, wrong concept of God, but the right concept of the world. We was out trying to get our shit. We got the right concept of God and gave up our share. Think about it. We went from being brothers and sisters who were trying to do business, quick thinking, fast, we went out to the modern times, brothers now want to. Someone would have told me that your Islam will make you African American, black man living in America, have your beard in red hair, not black hair. You can get black hair and red. And have you walking around looking like you are from out of this country. If someone would have told me that, I was thinking, what's out of your mind? These brothers have more reality than that. They know who they are, don't they? No. We must know who we are to the extent that we are insist that the Islam that we're going to practice is going to be indigenous to our own life, our own mind. If you can't convince your children that what you offer them as a way of life is going to be successful in the marketplace of ideas. You got old archaic ideas. Now what do I mean by that? When you look at history, what was the state of Muslim nations around the globe at the turn of the 19th century? What was the state? Colonized by what? Western philosophical thought. What was the state of the Muslims at the beginning of the 20th century? Colonized and dominated by Western philosophical thought and Western technology. Now, you could become Muslim in the 20th century. You're going to go pick up their ideas about how Islam should be applied that's already been conquered by Western man. You living here in America, right? You're now going to go pick up what they have already shown is not competitive in the 20th century. All right, look at it now. Find a country. Show me a country where Muslims was at in the year 1900, which is the beginning of the 20th century, that was an independent country. None of them. They had Islam, they had the Qur'an, they had all the books of fiqh, the usul al-din, and they had the Arabic language that they could read them. But they couldn't stand up to the onslaught of Western philosophical thought and Western technology. Now here you come now, I'm going to become Muslim. You got a choice. You got a clear choice. You can accept those old ideas that didn't work for them